Alright, this video will address the 6th grade Common Core Standard 6NS4. That's from the number system domain. The content cluster is all about computing fluently with multi-digit numbers and to be able to find factors and multiples. It's about being really fluent in working with factors and multiples, and I call that basically being very flexible, being able to come up with factors and multiples and use factors and multiples in a variety of ways to do a variety of problems in mathematics. This particular standard is a long one. In another video I addressed how to calculate the greatest common factor between two whole numbers. This particular video is going to be about computing fluently, but using a method to compute fluently to find the least common multiple of two whole numbers less than or equal to 12. I see this as the second concept in this standard, and in another video I address the distributive property and how to use that as the third concept. So I have a total of 3 videos for this particular standard. Before we go on, let me just clarify what a multiple is. A multiple are all the numbers that a particular number can is a factor of. So if I have the number 3, a multiple of 3 could be 6, could be 9, could be 12, because there are various different numbers I can multiply by 3 to get to any of these numbers. So 3 times 2 equals 6, 3 times 3 equals 9, 3 times 4 equals 12. 6, 9, and 12 are all multiples of 3. 3 is a factor of 6, 9, and 12. Alright, so let's figure out what the least common multiple is between 4 and 10. So 4 and 10 are both whole numbers. They're both whole numbers less than 12, just the standard indicated. But how would you figure out the least common multiple between these two? So first of all, let's figure out which of the two is the greatest number. So 10 is the greater number of the two. So let's start by placing 10 in the middle here. Now, what would I multiply by 10 to get to 10? It would be 1 times 10. Is there a number I can multiply by 4 to get to 10? The answer to that is no. So 10 is not a multiple of 4, but it is a multiple of 10. So let's try something else. Let's try another number that I would multiply by both numbers to see if I can get to that number. So let's try 2 times 10, which is the next multiple for 10, which would get me 20. Is there a number I can multiply by 4 to get to 20? Yes. 4 times 5 equals 20. So that means 20 is a multiple for both 4 and 10. I had to multiply different numbers to get to 20. In the case of 10, I multiplied 2 times 10. In the case of 4, I multiplied 5 times 4. But they both get me to 20. So that means that number is not only a common multiple for both numbers, but it's the least common multiple because there is no other multiple above 20 that, or I should say below 20 in terms of the number, that both numbers are factors of. Okay, so let's go to another example. What if I had the two whole numbers 12 and 9? The greatest of these two whole numbers is 12, so let's place that in the middle. Let's start with 12. And what do I multiply by 12 to get to 12? It'd be 1 times 12. Gets me 12. Can I multiply anything by 9 to get to 12? The answer to that is no. Alright, so let's try 2 times 12, which gets me the next multiple for 12. That would get me 24. Is there a number I can multiply by 9 to get to 24? No. So again, I'll scratch that out. How about 3 times 12? 3 times 12 is the next multiple, which is 36. Is there a number I can multiply by 9 to get to 36? And this time the answer is yes. That would be 4 times 9. So 4 times 9 and 3 times 12 both equal 36. That means 36 is a multiple for both 12 and 9. It is the least common multiple, because all these numbers up here are not even multiples. This is the least common. What if I had the two whole numbers 6 and 12? 6 and 12 might give you a slightly different problem. The greatest of the two numbers is 12, so I'll write that here. But in this case, 12 is a multiple for both of these numbers. So in other words, 1 times 12 equals 12, and 2 times 6 equals 12. So it happens to be the very first number I tried is a multiple for both of these numbers. Now this particular example shows why I always start with the greatest of the two numbers to place in the middle, because sometimes that number in and of itself can be the common multiple and the least common multiple between these two numbers. So since I started with with 12, I can see right off the bat that 2 times 6 is 12 and 1 times 12 is 12. That is the least common multiple.